It's difficult when you make consequences to the result you saw specifically last night. Obviously there's been things that have been done to try to really make the game safer and really try to teach tackling in a sense of not putting yourselves or anybody else in a vulnerable situation by striking with the crown of the helmet. But at the end of the day, football is always going to be a high collision sport, and it's going to be played at a fast pace. So it's just a matter of you taking that result last night. Like, how do you, as a teacher, try to teach that guy not to be in a situation that can penalize him and ultimately eject him out of the game? Yeah. At the end of the day, there was a double team on the defensive end that was supposed to climb up to 35, and he didn't get blocked. So naturally, the running back gets smoked, which that's what defensive football is. And it's tough to see a result like that. That happened last night specifically.
Yeah, exactly. In the NFL, you got a rule change that is under the radar, right? Your corners aren't going to be allowed to chop a guy who's coming around the edge.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's the coaching point, and how challenging do you think that'll be?
Well, really now we don't have that decision that we can make to chop those guys down. So you would think those guys are going to be coming full speed, going inside out on their track. So now it's just a matter of making sure that you still, maintain the edge of the defense, and you have to stay upright, and you got to do a good job of just, using your body mechanics to strike low to high and be able to take on that charge of a person that probably weighs 100 pounds more than you.
Gerald, I know we're not supposed to read too much in the depth chart that the team gives us every week, but it did have Jason as your starter at safety opposite Eric. Will Jason be your starting safety opposite Eric on Sunday?
I think we'll find out on Sunday. But at the end of the day, again, we have the luxury with the personnel that we do have to be able to mix and match different guys and different personnel packages and stuff like that. So it doesn't necessarily matter who's out there the very first snap of the game. We feel comfortable with anybody in those roles to be able to operate at any given situation throughout the game in any personnel package.
Is your comfort level with Javon, coming off obviously missed a little time with injury, a position that needs a lot of knowledge, is your comfort level with him such that you anticipate him getting defensive snaps on Sunday?
We wouldn't put anybody in a position we wouldn't feel comfortable with them out there on the field on Sunday. So we have practice, we have opportunities to continue to try to tighten up the game plan and the roles that people are going to play in them. And so if he's out there or if anybody's out there on the field on Sunday, we feel comfortable in the position that we're going to give them out there on the field.
And does he look ready to play for you? Not to ask this in many different ways, but my last question on this does Javon look ready to give an NFL team meaningful snaps at this point?
We wouldn't put him out there if he wasn't ready to do so. So that remains to be seen based on what we have going on this week during practice.
Thanks.
Question I ask a lot of different people. What's the best advice you got
As a player or as a coach?
Whatever. Anybody give you good advice that jumps out?
For me, the most valuable, advice that I got specifically as a coach is to try to be a master presenter and have value of the information and the way that you present the information versus the information itself. So I think that there's tremendous value in how you present information to players, where they can have a clear, concise, and repetitive message, and ultimately you're going to get what you emphasize. We talk about that around here, that you get what you emphasize and you can become what you tolerate. So it's a matter of, whatever environment you want to put in your culture, in your room, your team, or whatever, continue to make those points, continue to make them repetitive, and hold the people's feet to the fire, and how you present that information, and how the information is learned. Chris Peterson. When I was Chris Peterson and Jimmy Lake, they were very influential guys in my development as a coach when I was a grad assistant at the University of Washington. And then the members on that staff really set a foundation for who I am as a coach today, as well as all the other guys that I've worked with over the course of my career. But that was really the foundation of what I feel like that I've become as a coach in my development.
What's Coach Pete doing these days?
Well, I just saw Coach Pete on TV. He was doing some media stuff, I want to say, for Fox. Okay. But I think
that's surprising.
Yeah, I think he's still working with the University of Washington in, I think, their business program or something like that. I haven't talked to him in a couple of months. But he's still active around the university, just not in the football sense. I think he's doing some stuff on campus, as well as diving into this media thing.
You were at Boise when that? Yeah,
No, I was at the University of Washington as a grad assistant. I played for Pete at Boise, but in 2014 I was a grad assistant under his staff, and it was his first year at Washington.
Another question, your number when you played, any reason for that?
My number when I played? Like my jersey number?
Yeah, it's a question I ask a lot of people.
Nah, it was just the first number they gave me, and I told myself that whatever number I get in the NFL, I'm just going to wear it and try to make the most of it. We didn't have the single-digit rule back then.
I was just thinking more about McCourty. I'm
Mhm.
sorry. I was just thinking more about McCourty, like Barry was asking. I know he's played a lot of corner in his career, some safety, right, but mostly corner. So, how did the corner skills translate? There's been some Hall of Famers who made that transition, right? Did Rod Woodson do it? He went from corner to safety. So, what parts of the corner skill set translate easily, and which can be a challenge?
I think the foundation of coverage skills at the safety position can give you a great tool in order to be able to play, especially when you have to cover down and coverage. Biggest thing as far as transitioning from corner to safety is when you become really the primary communicator to the corners and the linebackers. The tackling angles are different. Your eye discipline, your eye progression is different based from call to call. So again, the foundational coverage skills will help you, and then it's really learning how to be an effective communicator out there, and then understanding how to track those angles inside out on a ball carrier versus always being outside in. And so that's really where the transition kind of starts to develop and kind of have you have a successful career at playing that position. You have those guys like Rod Woodson, Charles Woodson, Antrell Roll, who was a guy that played corner early in his career at the University of Miami and played safety in the NFL. He was the guy that was successful with the transition. But again, when you have the movement skills and the cover skills to be able to cover down, that creates a lot of versatility for you as a defense to be used in multiple roles, whether you're true traditional safety roles as a underneath zone defender, tackler, and also a cover guy like you have as a corner.